Ultimate Black Panther 2 and 3. A month has passed since the death of T'Chaka, former king of Wakanda. T'Challa sits on the edge of his bed, his head in his hands. Okoye sits nearby, telling her husband and king that he can't continue this way, that the people of Wakanda are becoming afraid of him. T'Challa shakes his head, explaining that everything that he is doing, from arresting citizens to searching their homes to interrogating them, is all to find the betrayers in their minds. "I'm doing what must be done to protect us," T'Challa tells her as he stands, but Okoye stands up, putting a hand on her husband's shoulder. "Your burden is too great. You must honor your father. You must protect your people and your nation. You must be their king and their warrior," she reminds him. T'Challa sighs, turning away, heading to the door of their bedchambers. "I must speak with Voodoo Khan today. They have counsel for me," he tells her. Okoye nods. "Do not trust them. They serve their own prophecies. They don't serve you. Do not serve them." Later at the temple of the Voodoo Khan, T'Challa sits across from his grandmother. She informs him that they have had a vision. "A woman of light will come for you. She is around you now, their fates intertwined. Between you is a bond made during war. And she will give you an heir, the heir of Wakanda, awaited for generations," the matron says softly. T'Challa's eyes widen at the mention of an heir. Later, Shuri visits the Dora Milaje to fight against the forces of Khonshu. "Time to turn the tide, brother," she says over the comms. The Black Panther's airship, known as the Throne, swoops down, transforming into a mech, swinging a massive claw at the Moon Knights. Victorious, the Dora Milaje raise their spears and chant a warrior cry. "For Wakanda!" The Black Panther steps out of the war machine and they bow before him. Later, Khonshu and Ra are watching the battle before turning back to their hologram message. "Your information has cost us a victory," Khonshu says to the blue woman, who shakes her head. "I have betrayed Wakanda, as I betray them now. Did I not give entrance to their assassin? Did I not place her next to the Wakandan king?" Khonshu shakes his head, explaining that they have held Africa in the Maker's absence, but they have grown tired of Wakanda's sovereignty. "We need to storm Wakanda itself and break T'Challa," Khonshu says, glaring at the hologram, ordering the blue woman to find them a path to victory. "You do not command me, Khonshu. Moon Knight does not know me. But it is time for T'Challa's reign to end," she says before signing off, informing the brothers that she is sending them a plan. Meanwhile, in Wakanda's war room, T'Challa motions to their battle map, informing his council that the forces of Khonshu and Ra always attack towns near vibranium mines, meaning that this must be their true targets. "We hide our mines. The only way that they would know where they are is if someone is telling them," Shuri informs them. T'Challa nods, looking at those that he has gathered. "The only people that I can trust are in this room." He leans forward, explaining that everything that has happened is because someone is helping Khonshu and Ra. "A traitor usually wants more than a nation has given them. This betrayal will be someone close to us, but not embraced by us," Okoye says to the group. Faxel and Anon bring up a map of Africa, explaining that they might have pinpointed the location of Khonshu and Ra's base of operations. "I will see this place tonight alone," T'Challa says with a nod, and the two spies try to argue with their king, explaining that this should be their mission. But T'Challa shakes his head, explaining that they need to guard both the princess and the queen. "We have a traitor within our walls. I need you to keep my family safe," T'Challa informs them before stalking out of the room. That night, he flies the throne over the suspected location of the base, confident in his abilities and Shuri's technology to protect him. "If they are here, I will see them in silence, and then you can send the Dora Milaje to my position," he tells Shuri over the comms. But suddenly everything goes dead, and the ship rocks as smoke blares from the rear. The throne plummets out of the sky, slamming into the ground below, the Black Panther struggling free, slipping into the woods. "Shuri, do you read me?" T'Challa hisses over the comms, when suddenly the darkness is lit up as Khonshu's soldiers encircle Black Panther. They raise their weapons and they open fire. T'Challa struggles to stand as the heavy rounds impact his vibranium armor, but finally, he falls. The soldiers all cease fire and close in, but dark clouds suddenly form over their heads, thunder rumbling and lightning cracking from the sky, destroying the soldiers. T'Challa struggles to his feet and looks up in shock as a woman floats down out of the clouds, lightning crackling around her. "Woman, made of light," he whispers as he watches the goddess of storm. Shuri ducks under another slow punch from the training robot until finally she squares her shoulders, ordering it to shut down safety protocols. The bot rushes at her, throwing a punch that she barely ducks, allowing the bot fist to destroy the tree behind her. She shouts in rage, throwing her own punch, destroying the bot with one blow. She then stands, stretching her muscles. "Punishing the machines you make?" Okoye asks from a distance, and she comes forward, once again reminding her that it has been weeks since T'Challa disappeared. Shuri shakes her head, reminding Okoye that T'Challa is doing what he believes he must, that they need to trust him. She turns to leave, but Okoye is angered by Shuri's attitude, stopping her. "Do not give your back to me," Okoye snaps, and Shuri whirls around, pushing away her queen, preparing for a fight. Okoye nods, readying herself. "By the Dora Milaje, first on her back, yields her will," the queen asks. Shuri nods. "As you wish," she says, and Okoye throws the first kick with a flash of speed, giving Shuri barely enough time to block. The two trade blows back and forth, with Shuri dropping low, sweeping the queen's legs out from under her, throwing her on her back. "So my will remains," Shuri says as she reaches down to help her queen to her feet. "Just tell me, is he on the right path?" Okoye says with a sigh, and Shuri nods her head. "I believe he is." Meanwhile, outside of Wakanda, Killmonger fires an arrow, bringing down a springbok. "No servants here, King. We must hunt our own meals," Eric says as he walks towards the downed animal, explaining that they do not take anything for granted as he closes the animal's eyes. "I am no stranger to this land, Killmonger," T'Challa tells him, and Eric nods, handing him a knife, asking him to skin the animal. Later, they sit by the fire, waiting for their meat to cook. "Your kingdom must miss you," Killmonger points out. And T'Challa nods, explaining that he does what he must for the safety of his kingdom. He looks to Killmonger, asking about his history. "You said you were born in Wakanda," T'Challa points out, asking the warrior why he left. Staring into the fire, Killmonger explains that he grew tired of living in paradise, while others around the world suffered. "And I got tired of being told I should be proud to do so," he says softly, when finally he looks up, telling T'Challa that he will now show the king what Moon Knight is hunting for. And it is not Wakanda. The pair stand before a massive structure cut into the mountain. T'Challa stares in awe at the massive panther head, its jaws opening wide as an entrance, while the statues are carved on either side, bowing to the panther. "There is so much more in Africa, beyond Wakanda," Killmonger tells him as he leads him inside, picking up a torch and leading the king into the darkness of the cave. Inside, T'Challa finds the carvings of a strange language that Killmonger tells him is older than even Wakanda itself. "The words are as lost as the people who have carved them," Killmonger says softly. He leads him to a great pit and the two drop inside. T'Challa is shocked to find themselves in a great structure made out of vibranium. "So this is what Moon Knight seeks," he whispers, but Eric shakes his head. "Not entirely. Come," he says as he motions the king forward. He leads him through another pit, but this time they stop at the edge. "This one we cannot jump," he says, picking up one of the crystals that is lodged into the wall. "But we have a Roro. She will see this," he says as he drops into the hole. Wind suddenly begins to rise from the deep of the hole. "She will guide us down," Eric says as they both leap, the wind blasting upwards, slowing their descent until they land in front of a Roro. Commanding the winds. Nice skill to have. T'Challa nods to the young woman and she shrugs. Connection isn't a skill, it's a responsibility. She tells him before turning to Killmonger. "You brought him here, so you trust him." Eric nods to his companion. "We need more than two." Roro nods, turning to lead them down a passage. "Son of Wakanda, I am to unlearn what you think you know. Prepare your mind." She leads them down the corridor, explaining that the people who built this place, who have long since faded from history, who are older than Wakanda itself. And she leads them to the great ark that is in another chamber. "Mother Bast," T'Challa whispers as his eyes widen at the sight. Upon a raised structure, a floating image of another planet sits, skeletons gathered around it. It has been here for a long time. Ororo shakes her head at T'Challa's words. "No, son of Wakanda, I don't know what it is, but I know your God is not, and what is here cannot fall in the hands of our enemies." And that concludes where we are with the ultimate Black Panther story. Now, I've gotten a lot of requests to continue the story, but I felt we needed to just wait until we had 2 issues because there really wasn't enough to do a single episode here on the channel. Also, I only found out like 2 days ago that Storm's real name is Ororo. I've always called her Aurora, but apparently I've been wrong. X-Men 97 is calling her Ororo, which was very weird for me when I thought it was pronounced an entirely different way. But hey, we all live and learn, right? Anyway, guys, make sure you like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will be here next time with another Ultimate Universe video.